You ever wake up thinking today's the day you finally get some peace? And by noon, you're at war with a bunch of clipboard-wielding HOA vigilantes hellbent on stealing your land? Yeah, that happened. They picked the wrong gate to break. My name's Russell James, and this is how I went from retired Coast Guard to the most notorious gatekeeper in all of Elk Run. Let me back up a sec, because honestly, you're not going to believe how nuts this got. I bought my Montana lake cabin for one reason: quiet. Real quiet. The kind where you hear your own heartbeat and the nearest neighbor's still a rumor. After 20 years in uniform, busting smugglers, pulling idiots out of the ocean, I thought I'd earned my peace. So I cashed out, bought this crooked little patch of heaven by the water, and set up a humble repair business in town. Nothing fancy, just enough to keep the mind and hands from rotting. The cabin itself wasn't much to look at: pine out front, lake out back, and a one-lane gravel road that ended at my steel gate. Not a picturesque white picket fence, but sturdy, bolted, and absolutely not for community joy rides. You know what I mean? It was my line in the sand. I'd barely been living there 3 months when the universe delivered its first little reminder: peace is never a long-term tenant. It was one of those spring Mondays where the frost hangs around till noon. I grabbed my thermos, headed out to check the gate, just part of the routine, when I noticed it. Fresh tire tracks. Multiple sets, and heavy. Somebody had muscled through, dragged across my grass, flattened the new landscaping marker I'd just pounded in last week. 2 crushed beer cans, half a bag of chips, and, oh yeah, the lock chain snipped, then looped back around like they'd done me a favor. I wasn't mad so much as offended. It's a special kind of audacity, you know? Like, hey, thanks for letting us party, here's some trash and vandalism, we even tidied up your broken lock. So, I hustled back up to the cabin, pulled the SD card from my trail cam, and queued up the footage. There it was, a black Range Rover for people in nice puffy coats, snipping the chain, swinging the gate wide, driving right down my road like they owned it. Spent 4 hours by my dock, coolers, folding table, a tiki torch Bluetooth speaker, the whole suburban picnic. Before they left, one guy carefully looped the chain back. Good as new. Or so they thought. The next day I get this letter in the mail, certified, official, the kind of envelope that makes you double-check your taxes. Right there on the letterhead: Elk Run Waterite Association. Never heard of it. Reads like a lawsuit, but dressed up as neighborly concern. Apparently, my private gate is obstructing traditional lakefront access historically shared by the Elk Run community. I have 10 business days to dismantle artificial barriers, or they'll escalate. For 5 minutes, I stared at that thing, wondering if maybe I'd missed the joke. My property wasn't part of any HOA. That was the point. Before I bought it, I paid a lawyer to triple-check the title. The last owner, some legendary old coot named Emery Cross, refused to sign anything during the HOA expansion in 2005. County records even filed a special note: parcel excluded from community oversight. No dues, no obligations, no shared anything. But this letter had the slick venom of bureaucracy: sharp, careful, ready to ruin your life one paragraph at a time. So, I called the number at the bottom. Woman answers, clipped and icy. Karen Wesley, president of Elk Run Wide Association. How may I help you? Hi Karen, Russell James here. I think there's been a pretty big misunderstanding about your letter. A pause. Then a sigh, equal parts condescension and boredom. I assume you're calling about the access road? I'm calling about your people breaking into my property, actually. She goes on about community use for over 20 years, how my driveway is some kind of legacy fire access, therefore it's a shared asset. I tell her the fire corridor was decommissioned, bought and paid for, and I've got the deed to prove it. Karen doesn't miss a beat. We'll be submitting a complaint to the district office. We strongly urge you to remove the gate. We'd like to resolve this peacefully. I hung up before my sarcasm could end up on a transcript. Instead, I called my attorney, sent her the letter, then filed a trespass report with the sheriff. After that, I hit the hardware store for a new chain, reinforced steel this time, and a beefy padlock. 2 new cellular trail cams, too. That night, I locked the gate down tighter than a missile silo, set up motion sensors, and watched the snow start falling with this cold certainty in my gut. This was just the first shot. Days passed. Nothing. The cameras caught nothing but wind and raccoons. I started to hope maybe the HOA crowd had gotten the message. Then Friday. I'm on my porch, coffee in hand, when my phone buzzes with a camera alert. White Suburban at the gate. Woman in a red coat with a clipboard, flanked by 2 dudes, one carrying bolt cutters. I barely have time to get my boots on before I'm stomping down the hill. They're already fingering the lock. Back away from that gate. I shout, rifle crack loud. The woman turns. Mr. James? She flashes a smile, introduces herself as Emily Pritchard, access coordinator. Says they're here to perform a preliminary inspection per community directive. You're here to break into my property again, I say, cutting her off. Already reported to the sheriff. Her backup, older guy, elk run badge, puffs up. This road is historically recognized as a community access path. You're obstructing ingress. I just grin. I'm obstructing unauthorized access to my land. You want to see my title? I'll bring it out. Emily waves her clipboard. We have alternate documentation suggesting this path was never formally removed. Your documentation's trash. I have notarized county records, exclusion clauses from '05, the works. You want to debate? Get a court order. She smirks. We're already preparing legal action. The board voted unanimously. Good. Then you won't mind if I install more cameras and post signs warning against forced entry. That got a twitch out of her. The bolt cutter guy suddenly found the ground real interesting. They left after I threatened to call the sheriff again, but not before Emily slipped me an envelope. Stronger wording this time, non-compliance, cooperative infrastructure expectations, threats of coordinated removal. It read more like a mob shakedown than anything neighborly. That night, I welded extra brackets to the gate, upgraded the padlock, angled the cameras to catch faces. Then I sent a cease and desist letter, CC'd my lawyer and the sheriff. No more nice requests. You so much as breathe on my fence, I want a paper trail. Saturday morning, flyers on every mailbox, lake access denied. One man's gate hurts us all. Photos of my gate from a drone. My name and parcel number right there on the back. The HOA started a petition, 50 signatures already. Shopkeepers in town rolled their eyes. Bunch of HOA nonsense. You're on your land. Screw him. But it rattled me. This was a pressure campaign, and I knew exactly where it was going. 2 a.m., next night, trail cam buzzes. Dark figure in a hoodie, bolt cutters, creeping to the gate. He clips the lock, floodlights blast on, he bolts. Cameras catch his license plate. Police come, take the footage, log the report. They're polite, but you can see they're tired of HOA drama. We'll add it to the file. I wasn't about to wait for someone else to fix this. I marched into the county clerk's office, plopped my binder on the zoning officer's desk, title, deed, exclusion letter, maps. Asked for notarized, certified copies of everything. If they wanted a fight, they'd get one. By Monday it got weird. Knock on my front door, not the gate. Guy in a tan suit, badge dangling. Zoning Dispute Resolution Liaison, Gallatin County. He's got a manila envelope, says there's been a formal assessment request for possible obstruction of historical access. I open the envelope, fake map, my driveway labeled Community Fire Access Trail, an updated overlay showing a chunk of my land shaded as shared use. Utter fiction. That area was deeded in 2004, I tell him. Here's the exclusion record. He shrugs. You'll want to present your documentation at the hearing. Hearing? Yep. Thursday. County Civil Court. My attorney Janet Hughes is already on it. She's a bulldog, used to fighting county slime. She's found the original property records, exclusion documents, fire department decommission memo, handwritten zoning maps. But then plot twist, a name pops up in the GIS record change, A. Miller. A junior tech in zoning, just enough access to fudge things. Not only that, but the fake map footer reads Property Insight Group LLC, a surveying firm owned by Gregory Wesley, Karen's husband. Thursday court day. I show up looking like a man who builds his own fences. Karen's there, platinum bob, boardroom outfit, 2 lawyers in tow, exuding smug. The hearing's tense, her lawyers harp on shared access, implied easement. Janet counters with maps, records, and boom, the proof of forged GIS data and Karen's family connection to the surveying firm. Judge raises an eyebrow. Orders a freeze on HOA action. We're not done, but the wind's shifting. That weekend, I'm out of town for a job. Sunday, my buddy Curtis texts. You expecting work done on your gate? Bunch of guys out here, and Karen. He sends a pic. There's a mini excavator parked by my gate, guys in vests, Karen standing like she's the queen of dirt. I hit the gas 3 hours back, and what do I find? Fence panel ripped out, excavator mid-dig, Karen barking orders. I call the sheriff, then call 2 Coast Guard buddies. In 30 minutes, we've rebuilt the fence, poured new concrete, mounted barricades, and set up alarms. The deputy arrives. Karen tries to talk him down. He's having none of it. "Ma'am, please remain silent." That felt good. I show him the camera footage. "You want to press charges?" "Absolutely." Karen goes on a tirade about aggression and discriminatory enforcement, but the deputy tells her to leave or get detained. By dusk, my property looks like Fort Knox, new signs up. Private property not subject to HOA. Violators will be prosecuted. That night, I get another county filing. Elk Run HOA is trying to propose a public pier and parking lot, right over my land, using a forged annexation signature, from a man who died 2 years ago. That's when things crossed from greedy to criminal. Janet and I file fraud reports. We reach out to Doug Kenny's widow. Claire brings notarized proof, and her best friend is the local newspaper editor. By that night, the story's all over town. Homeowner accuses HOA of forging documents to seize lakefront. The comments explode, folks sharing their own HOA horror stories, claims of intimidation, random fire code violations, mysterious fines. The next morning, someone nails a sign to my tree. "Keep out, host scab. You don't belong here." Nice, real mature. Sheriff logs it as intimidation, starts regular patrols. And then one more twist. I get a couriered letter from Eagle Ridge Development Partners LLC. Karen's promised my lakefront to a developer, contingent on boundary resolution. They have blueprints for a parking lot, dock, event pavilion. She was planning to sell my land before even winning in court. That's when I stopped playing defense. Called every contact I'd made in federal work, inspectors, surveyors, a zoning retiree named Hal who owed me a favor. Put together a dossier on Karen, her shell companies, all the HOA's dirty deals from the last 3 years. By Saturday, we'd found multiple forged permits, shell LLCs funneling money, a web of corruption leading right back to Karen. Monday, the hearings packed, reporters, residents, county folks, everyone hungry for drama. Karen's team is there, all gray suits and nervous whispers. Judge Decker, not one for nonsense, gets straight to it. Janet lays out the evidence, handwriting analysis on the forged signature, security footage of the demolition, Claire's letter, financial ties, emails between Karen and the developer. The judge cuts off Karen's lawyer mid-excuse. Not interested in explanations for forgery unless you want to discuss criminal liability. We win. Injunction granted. Full restraining order against Elk Run HOA and its board. No contact, no trespass, nothing pending full investigation. Media pounces. Forgery, fraud, and HOA overreach. County judge blocks land grab. Karen's connections, her dirty laundry, front page news. By Thursday, the Attorney General's office is sniffing around. I get zoning officials on my side, verifying the property line. Someone leaks a county memo. Elk Run plan to annex adjacent, unregistered, lots through fake structural development projects. My land, top of their priority list. They never thought I'd fight back. Last move from Karen? A gold-embossed letter. She offers to resolve the conflict amicably, with a 50-year easement through my property. Translation: let us build a permanent road, and we'll leave you alone. I watch that thing curl up and burn in my fire pit. That night, the motion cam goes off at 2:37 a.m., 3 figures creeping in with bolt cutters and a post puller. I call the sheriff. Caught on tape, faces clear. 2 contractors, 1 junior HOA board member, violating a restraining order in the middle of the night. Sheriff doesn't blink. That's a felony. By lunch, they're in cuffs. But Karen, oh Karen, she can't help herself. Next day, some documentary filmmaker tries to interview me. Turns out she's an unpaid PR intern for the same developer Karen promised my land to. The game was up. By Monday, my file, annotated, notarized, video, emails, you name it, is in the hands of the Department of Justice. And then, sweet poetic justice, the county sheriff himself knocks on Karen's door. She's arrested for filing forged legal docs, violating injunctions, conspiracy to seize private land, the works. Screaming all the way to the cruiser, local news rolling. The HOA board resigns en masse. That night, I walk my dog Max down to the dock, sit with a beer, and watch Karen's arrest video one last time. Mute, just the lake, the stars, and a big, dumb smile on my face. Justice? Maybe not perfect, but I'll take it. Karen ends up with a 10-year plea deal. The HOA dissolves. The new owners? They know exactly where the boundaries are. My gate's still there, Upgraded, bronze, never touched again. If they ever try, I'm ready. Now here's my question. After all this, what the hell is justice? Is it winning in court, or just getting to keep what you've earned without having to fight tooth and nail? Have you ever had to stand your ground against a bully, an HOA, a neighbor, maybe even a boss? Let me know down in the comments. I want to hear your stories. What does justice look like to you? And hey, if you've ever tangled with an HOA, I want details. Don't hold back.